こんにちは。 RNG vs デトネーションフォーカスミ3試合目始まりました。今回はナーじゃなくてケネンをバンしてきた。デトネーションはナーを好むけどね。でも今日のケネンは結構エビうまくやってるからナーじゃなくてケネンをバンするのか、それともナーを取るのか。なわけねえな。毎回8ロックスを取っていたが RNG ここで取るのか取らないのか。8ロックスだよね。デトネーションはずーっと8ロックスの対面してて、慣れてるだろうからあえて開けてるんだろうけど、やっぱキャラパワーはあるよね。キャラパワーは本当にある。グレーブス by カリッサの方が怖いってのは分かる。カリッサは渡しちゃダメだし、グレーブスも序盤の動きとかで翻弄されそうだし、バイもやっぱ相手得意だからユーミバンされるからもうここで取っちゃおうって考えか。ヘカレム is open。 ヘカレム is open。 ノクターンセジュワニセジュワニユーミワンチャンセジュワニトップワンチャン。
Alright, just a quick update by the way, since we never really gave you guys the story conclusion to what happened earlier. League officials determined that RNG was unable to ban Yone in the draft, so there was some sort of an error there, and so the lobby was remade with the same picks and bans up until that third ban.
相手またビエゴ。ビエゴそんなメタじゃねえけどな。サイルース。サイルースのカウンターはベックスなんだけど、ヤハロンのベックス下手だったから、使わないでほしい。ベックスが合う構成でもないけど。セブーユーミナーフはされたけど、これ1回使って勝ってたね。
And that's the thing, right? Because I feel like as DFM, maybe you don't feel as pressured to take the Azir because you still have other control mages in the mid lane that you can pick up, things like the Victor, the Talia. We've seen Vex come out against Silas a few times this tournament, so a lot of things for DFM left in the mid lane. RNG, though, more afraid of Evi.
Exactly. This is the first
Detonation. Polystar na ba?
Champion is still left to be picked in the second half of the draft, and with DFM electing to stay on the red side, that means they could save the very last pick for him. So they're going to remove some of these things, which are a little bit more unusual. Something like the Lilia, Tristana, and Alistar banned out by DFM, keeping the Trist away from Gala. I can see why.
Renekton ban. まあナーが残ってるならナーを使っていいのかな。でもサイラスがいるからナーを取りたくないのか。そうかそうか、サイラスがいるのか。ルブランサイラスがいるからな取りたくねえんだな。だからなバンしねえんだ。まずルブラン
coming in for Yaharong, so this time around going to have some of that pick potential for themselves. And LeBlanc with Yuumi, like I know a lot of people talk other combinations, the Hecarim, like
ルシアン並みのインタラクションは消えたけどな。電撃すぐ発動しなくなったけど、やるのか？やるの？初じゃない？ルシアンナミ、お互いナフ受けてんな。プレーオフの時のルシアンナミはレーンも多少強いけど基本ファーストストライクでミッドゲームでお金稼ぐスタイルだったよね。でトリンドメア強そう。
Yup! It's a trend here, boy! You wanted an early champion! You also wanted early action!
サイラスが取れんのはウルト取るとだるいっちゃだるいけど、波しばけそうだし悪くないんじゃない。トリンセジュアに
What the hell's going on?
トリンは結構エビの得意ジャンプだよね。
With DFM, do they want to focus on enabling him? Are they going to try to leave Evie on his own?
RNG vs デトネーションフォーカスミ3試合目始まりました。なかなかみたいトリンドメア情報を獲得してる。
I'm gonna pause because DFM, maybe they do want to give us some early action.
Okay. Ming on the Nami, you would think would be the target.
見えちゃったぞ。
He immediately sees that.
さあ見えなかったらワンチャンあったけど見えちゃったな。
Because you guys mentioned the thing about Lucian and Nami's synergy with Electrocute not really working anymore. Ming is going.
トリンドメアゴーストイグナイトノー TP。
comparing them, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't even know how to use Microsoft Excel.
エートロックスって結構内側に来られると弱いからね。
To this, I do not know what they are as Gala tries to get away from Harp and Utapon walking into this tri brush 1v2.
波はイグナイトでもなく電撃でもなくエアリー。電撃がなくなってるのにまだ波ルシアンなんだ。やはりのルブランはどうなんだろう、得意なのかな。
Yeah, that's one of the things is that Lucian Nami, back before the nerfs came through, it didn't feel like they were a combination that really needed to like pub stomp in lane. Like their power spike was very much at one item when Gale Force and Imperial Mandate came online. But I definitely think into DFM's draft, we need to see a lot of work done from RNG in the bot side. But it could be rough because we can already see push is going to come in from the Sivir. Yaharong should also have prio in mid lane for the first few levels. And with steel pathing down here, it really doesn't just seem like those opportunities are there.
Okay, and I like the fact that you mentioned Yaharong because immediately I'm noticing a difference in approach to the game compared to what Xiaohu was doing. Teleport instead of the ignite, not just going for the straight up kill threat, wanting to have the extra mobility around the map. And of course, part of that could be the fact that, hey, your top laner doesn't have teleport either, and it feels kind of bad to have no TPs in a game of modern League of Legends. But still, it does mean he's going to have less of that 100-0 power compared to what we saw from South.
なんかトップしばかれてる感じがするけど、気のせいか。
interesting one as this game goes on, right? Because you do have the opportunities RNG to match a lot of the side lane pressure, just try and wave clear, and it means that you're probably going to see Evie trying to group and play for those team fights a hell of a lot more, especially with Ignite, especially with the Ghost. He has that chase down potential for people like Gala, but you always have to be careful as well, because anything that Tryndamere does, Silas can also do. So I think it's going to be like, hey, it's Xiaohu versus Evie trying to see if you can get access to that back line, just not die, and take some of these AD carries with you.
And of course, just prefacing this for anybody who does not know about Tryndamere versus Silas matchup, or a Tryndamere mirror if you play blind picks with your friends. Whoever ults first loses. Yep, that's pretty much the one rule. If you press R before the other guy presses R and don't manage to run away, you lose.
I wonder if there's a situation where we've ever had both kill each other trying to out Giga Chad the other one and neither end up using it.
Maybe it could. Maybe it could.
That's the excuse that I have for not hitting the button.
Yeah, of course. Exhaust traded for cleanse here in the bottom lane as Harp slaps that one onto Gala, who's immediately ready to knock
デトネーションのこのボトムデュオは連戦でしばかれなければレートゲーム強いからね。まあルシアンナミもミッドゲーム用なんだろうけど。ただ敵のビエゴがやってきてる。これは死んだな。ちょっと熱くなりすぎたか、2ビーツ。
Exactly what we talked about for RNG. They needed to put their eggs in the bot lane basket, and immediately they get two off rip. Great stuff to enable Gala and Ming to take over this bot lane.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the wave in as well. Should get a nice reset for themselves. And we see Steel is able to take away some camps on the top side. Might even have an angle for a gank. Will be spotted out, but has already pushed up pretty far.
All right, Breathe. Let's see what you can do. Can he get himself out of this one? Infernal Chains are going to pull Eddie back.
捕まえられるのかこれ。
Breathe tries to walk away, flashes out of the Arctic Assault, but gets tagged by the second hit of the Flail. Still just trying to walk this one back towards mid lane. Goes over the wall here with the Umbral little dash. Ready to still try to keep fighting and kiting away from these guys. Q3 hits. Breathe is not going anywhere. DFM gets one back the top side.
And sadly, RNG not in a position to be able to answer anywhere else. DFM did have to commit a lot of time to be able to make this play happen. But still, Wave State's not really in a position where like, hey, we're losing anything bot or need to answer back quickly in mid. So overall, just a nice response to come out from DFM. And it feels like both teams this time around kind of fine with their top sides being a little bit slower. RNG, like you've already said, Dagda, a lot more about that bot side, but DFM, I mean, they're just playing to scale up.
Yeah, I mean, but the big one is that Evie did get that kill, right? He's been able to get a good amount of CS, get towards that level 6, and then it becomes super dangerous for Breathe as well. Like, yes, you've got a lot of healing, but if Evie is just able to tank up the turret for the entire time, you've got good CC with Steel, they can tear through Breathe if he starts to fall further and further behind.
Tryndamere is one of those champions where, you know, we've said side, like, playing 1-3-1 or hard playing sides ever since like Dragonstill's been the thing is dead. Tryndamere is one of the champions who actually can still dive you and actually get pressure on a turret. So very good for him, especially he already hits level 6, so it makes sense.
Ah, 6だからね、イージーダイブだね。
This is where you can just get scuba levels with your dives.
パワーショットタンクできるから、ビエゴが来る前に早く。あ、ビエゴ間に合うぞ。
The turret aggro comes out.
What the fuck is Steel doing?
That was a bit of a screw up there from DFM. Now Evie's underneath the turret, but Waves already showed up. This was a massive mistake from Detonation. Focus me. And focus they will. RNG get to
Tryndamereが先に食らわねえと。
The idea, they have the stacking wave, they have the ultimate for Evie, but the fact that Wei was able to make his way up there and honestly get the possession right in time to like jump in between Breed and Evie, everything just going the way of RNG.
And you can see Auron's trying to see if he can make the play happen then on bot side because they know that Wei is top, but not able to get into the bottom side of the map. And I mean, Wei read this perfectly. Like, he's immediately moving up towards this top side. He's ready for that dive in case it comes in, knows it's a big wave. And just a great read from RNG, knowing exactly what DFM were going to go.
Also Breathe, I mean, hitting both sweet spots of the first confused, right? Getting the knockups, able to get the chains down as well, so he was able to buy so much time.
And I gotta fault DFM too. Why is Sejuani slapping the dude first? Sejuani doesn't have the I don't die button. It just seemed like it was a little rushed. It wasn't fully thought out. And it cost them a lot. RNG, 1,500 gold. Not even 8 minutes into the game. Their best early game so far.
This is what a lot of people were expecting coming into this series, right? RNG being able to match DFM on the map, get control through lanes, have some good ganks coming through from Wei, and Udapon will hop out just to steal a bit of that damage, but that's a lot of hurt on the bottom lane of DFM.
And I mean, they have Prio and bot. You can already see Wei starting up the Herald top side because Breed's pushing that wave in. Xiaohu now at the level 7 mark is in a very good position to get things going. So, I mean, power spikes abound, especially with that serrated Dirk on Lucian, but DFM want to punish it.
Yeah, can they get him? Gala's going to get hit there. It's so easy for Gala to tank those when he has the cleanse because he can immediately just give himself away to safety. Camera snaps back to mid, and Yaharong has to snap all the way out of that fight, using the flash to escape from Xiaohu there, who is just smacking him around in that 1v1 all-in. Evie versus Breathe. Here in the top side, Breathe can land the Q3, but Evie will heal the whole thing off. These guys are pretty evenly matched, but Evie knows he can zone him away here in the neutral ground. DFM are onto the Drake on the other end of the map.
Just waiting for Udapon to be able to crash that wave on bot side and then
Detonation,
will be able to join. So trading objectives on opposite sides of the map. You have to see how RNG are going to be able to kind of make this Rift Herald worth their money. You're already seeing a lot of pressure down on this bottom side. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and continue that.
トレンドメアでスプリットゲームできるのかな。テレポートがないんだよな。レーン勝つ前提だったんだけどね。エートロックス序盤は弱いから。エートロックス序盤弱いから序盤ダイブしてレベル差つけてずっとボコすつもりだったんだろうけど。
Mid as well, you really don't need to drop it. Like they do have a Sivir on the opposing side, so the wave clear will be there later on, which could be annoying. But I think getting Gala ahead is paramount for RNG.
Breathe is just going to continue holding the L here in top lane, dealing with Tryndamere in the 1v1 early. You can see he's down a pretty significant amount of CS. He will be able to clean up a bit of that here underneath the turret, but unfortunately the HP on the creeps meant that he wasn't able to get all of it. So still a bit more than a 2-wave lead for Evie in terms of that farm count. But if we're looking elsewhere on the map, jungle is pretty close, but it is full kill participation, and 2 of those kills for Wei's Viego. He's already got Blade of the Ruined King completed. Sejuani's got boots and a red rock. boys. That
い
is
や、ちょっと
not
敵の
a jungle
ジャングラー
comparison that you
王権
wanna
持ってんじゃねえかよ。
be able to
No, we can. Wei can go take that fight any day of the week now. And I mean, heck, we've already seen him playing around some of the pressure Xiaohu's put up in mid lane to aggressively go towards Steel's jungle. We haven't seen the fight just yet, but I'm sure Wei gonna be looking for it now.
Yeah, but that's the big thing that I'm curious about, because I thought the RNG were going to try and make a play off of this bot lane wave, like try and crash it, but Wei actually went to the top side, so they don't have the numbers here to try and make anything happen. It looks like they're trying to draw Steel in, so they're going to make a play mid.
どうだ
Oh, Yaharong
なん
getting away
と
there.
か
Xiaohu
あ
has
ー生き残れない
Sejuani ulti to fire at him, and it ends up
く
being
わ
enough
連戦で
to
事
get
故る
the
な
kill. Now bottom side, Steel's gonna try to use his Sejuani ulti, throws it out. Ming tanks it, trying to save
な
Gala.
あ戻ってくるのが足らなかった
Does not land. Nicely done, but the fights aren't done across the map. Breathe tries to get away. Evie just one more hit to cut him down. Evie lands the solo kill.
You know, after how bad that felt in the bot lane for Unipone, we take that for Evie in topside. The sad thing for DFM is they lost out everywhere else, not able to get the play in bot side. As we just saw Herald dropped in mid.
Yeah, this was a really good read on the map from RNG. They were like, hey, look, we more than likely are going to use the wave, but literally I was in the saying, hey, you got this big wave for Gala and Ming. Chances are this is going to be the play on bot side. So RNG kind of take that that point you were talking about earlier, Flowers, of thinking 3-4 steps ahead. They go, chances are Steel is going to match this play on bot side. So instead, let's make a play in mid, catch them with their pants down. They get the kill, they get the tower, and suddenly Xiaohu has access to that Crown of the Shattered Queen, which will make it very easy against Yaharong in this match.
Yeah, and we're going to see here. I mean, it's so easy, right? The fact that Xiaohu has the ultimate allows the lockdown to come through, comboed perfectly with the CC setup from Wei,
これいけんのか
and then Xiaohu just able to
えぐいな
finish off the kill. So, I mean, that's what we said in draft, right? Xiaohu,
ミッドタワー折られちゃってる
Silas is good, let alone the ultimates right now, it feels like, but especially when you're showing Yumi Sejuani on 1-2, Xiaohu was having a field day.
Xiaohu is having a good time, my friends. And Wei is doing the same. I like the fact that you bring up Crown of the Shattered Queen because RNG knows that against LeBlanc and Sivir and Tryndamere, you're gonna need some extra defense here in this game. And you can see the same thing in Wei's build. Remember the previous game, it was Blade of the Ruined King and Divine Sunderer, just pure bruiser. This time around,
サイドレーンやりづれえな敵のミッドが先に来るから
I will say though, it does lower the CC opportunities that RNG have, right? And when we were talking earlier on about Evie potentially having a run of the muck in the back of the team fights, not having access to the Everfrost just means there's one less tool.
かわしたから出
It
れ
will
ねえ
kind
や
of give Evie a slight edge, just the fact that he has gone for this, because I don't feel like Evie's looking for it.
Gala again with a cleanse, getting away from these Sejuani ults. I like how aggressive RNG are willing to play when Gala has this. He's not afraid to just tank it. He knows how easy it is to get away from that. Xiaohu will now continue clearing out some of the vision. RNG just fishing for plays, seeing if there's anything they can find. Testing
トップは勝ってる
Nothing really to fight over right now
ト
other
ッ
than
プしか
just
勝ってない
those
トップと
kills.
サポー
But
ト
there
か
will be a Drake in about 45 seconds. Gala goes in for a culling. Udapon and Harp getting away from that one, each losing a decent chunk of HP, but nobody critically low.
I actually like what we saw on the mini-map because if you see, Evie actually moved over towards mid, and heck, now going to be able to potentially take away this blue buff. But
Nice.
for DFM, when you start falling behind like this, you need to look for these plays where it's like, hey, obviously Breathe wasn't showing it topside, but maybe I need to drop a wave here or like give Breathe the chance to show up and push first because you need to overwhelm them somewhere else that they don't expect. So look for the opportunity mid. Sadly, Xiaohu didn't overstep, so DFM weren't able to find it. But DFM, knowing they're starting to fall in a bit of a hole, are starting to use the tools they have to try to get back in.
And the biggest problem for them is that now they kind of have to try and give over things like Infernal Dragon that's about to spawn here over to RNG. You have the Rift Tower that's not going to be up at the same time, so RNG should be able to get that and still be able to move up towards the Rift Towers, especially with the Gale Force completed now coming through for Gala. He's in such a good spot for some of these team fights.
Yeah. This power spike cap, this is exactly what we wanted to see. I mean, if anyone walks a bit too far forward, just Gale Force into calling is enough to 100-0 people. Sadly though, doesn't exactly have that
Aatrox
calling yet.
ulted.
He'll be back soon.
Herald
He'll be back
fight
in plenty of time, you would have to expect. Once more,
相手は
it
ドラゴン
is
取ってる
Wei
のか
on the Dragon all alone. He doesn't need help to take that one down. DFM trying to go elsewhere, like you guys were talking about, trying to make something happen on the top half of the map, going for the second Herald of the game. They're They're down 2,500 gold. They gotta find something to stop this bleeding a little bit. Make sure you're not falling behind. The Gale Force on Lucian is not the only thing being completed. The Imperial Mandate on the Nami also online. She doesn't even have any shoes. Wei goes bottom looking for Yaharong, who snaps back to his first position, tries to trade with the Diego, but it's just not going to be enough. And now, with the turret plating gone, Xiaohu's just clearing out the rest of these minions. They're not going to take the tier 1 turret just yet. Next wave collides, and that one is just money in Xiaohu's pocket.
RNG just cross-mapping well, understood that, look, if you're putting all your resource into getting the Rift Herald, well, we can push mid, we can then let Xiaohu take the spot well. Yarong will just show up as the last few minions die, but it's just RNG again, kind of what we saw in game number 2, once we got to the mid-game, playing the map well, continually getting more and more control on the map.
And I feel like if you were DFM, right, we looked at their comp, we talked about playing around sides, but the fact that one, Xiaohu has found a lead over his counterpart, and two, the bigger one is Wei being so far accelerated, means that you always have this kind of two-man squad playing around sides, not giving DFM those openings.
The only one I'm worried about is Evi. I mean, Gale Force Zeal completed, like, he is a big old boy, and he will happily tear apart anyone who steps into his lane. And I think that's why we're kind of seeing DFM at the moment leaning towards this top side, trying to get the vision control they need so Evi can play aggressive so we can look for that top lane turret.
I feel like Gale Force is the I have to win this game by outplaying my opponent's item for Tryndamere, whereas Kraken Slayer is just that everything's going fine. All I have to do is stat check whatever they put in my way and cut through him and I'll be fine. So I've got eyes on Evi all day. This is the dude who's found solo kills. This is the guy who's been in control of his lane. This is the one point of power that DFM really has. And I feel like without playing around him, there's not much of a win condition here in this game for him, unless maybe for some reason RNG just forgets to press the gas pedal down and you get to 6 items silver.
Yeah, there's definitely still possibility for RNG to throw this as this game does go on, and I like the DFM now.
渋谷のウルトでキャッチとかできないかな。
Seems like they're trying to find an opportunity to use this Rift Herald.
ルブランができることがあんまねえや。
All right, they're after the Nami because they know that Lucian can get away from it with Cleanse. Thing stays alive, and now with the wave going forward, the revenge and they punish Steel. Evi's forced in the ulti, and these are not the plays they needed from that Tryndamere. Breathe takes out Utapon, and Yaharong will stumble away with his pet cat, the only one left alive, surviving the slaughter.
It took a game and a half, but RNG have woken up in this series, and they have chosen violence. RNG now going to start moving through the mid lane and get another structure for themselves.
And not only get this mid, right, this is also relieving pressure off of Brave. Like, cool, Tryndamere's on my lane. I can farm minions and push in a turret of my own. And the gold lead now swinging upwards 5k plus for RNG.
It was just a great fight from RNG. Ming doesn't get bursted out at the start of this and then lands a miracle bubble as well onto Evi to prevent Evi from actually being able to do much damage to Gala. So from that point forward, RNG were just able to close that one out. Again, side lane's now fully in control for RNG.
And I like the fact that DFM went for something, right? Like, they see the opportunity here to maybe catch that support. They know they're falling behind, but as soon as you weren't able to finish them off,
ナミがフラッシュないからもう一回同じようにやったらナミ殺せそうだけどね。ユタポン上にフラッシュしたように見せかけてクラッシュ切ったけどバレちゃった。
Zero damage in the fight from Yaharong, as, you know, it was just over before it started, honestly, with them not being able to grab the kill onto that Nami. And yes, DFM will finally get their first turret of the game, just about 19 minutes in here, taking out that tier 1 top that Evi had put so much work into. But it's still 4,500 gold is the lead for RNG. So, gentlemen, I gotta ask you, what on earth do you do if you're DFM?
It has to be picks. You have to try and find some way for Yaharong and Steel to work together to find some of these picks. Even bring it back into the equation where maybe he's connected with Yaharong. If you can try and disrupt the tempo and the map control RNG have, then you can buy space for Evi to actually put threat onto these towers. But right now, with Dragon up, it just looks so difficult.
It's kind of funny because with them needing to find picks and maybe overcommit members to sides, it's actually a decent thing that they don't have those turrets mid, because now, like, if DFM want to go for a play, right, Yaharong has TP, so you can commit him to the same side that Evi's on, maybe bring the Yumi there as well as Breathe, actually. Gonna walk into numerous members of DFM, but it's plays like this to where Utapon, you can sit very safely back next to your inhibitor, really no ability for RNG to punish you. The problem is you need more than a flash.
Oh boy, Evie, now he's got to get away too. All right, both top laners wandering into jungles and then immediately trying to wander back out as Evie tries to defend this tier 2 turret. RNG is applying pressure very heavily. Evie is low but not forced to ult. Xiaohu can just jump right back in there, make sure they destroy that turret. Yaharong's looking to see if there's anything to grab, but he's stunned. The bubble flies out and only gets the clone. RNG's war machine is not slowing down.
But this is the trade-off when you try and make that pick in the top side, right? Now you don't have the members bot lane. RNG are able to get onto the tower, and now DFM overcommits the bot side, which means that Breathe can get the top turret.
Yeah, and that's just one of the things, right? Since RNG are so far ahead, they have so many more options available to them. Any play DFM makes, they will be at a disadvantage, and heck, maybe now TPing Yaharong in.
ここで勝ったらバロンだ。勝て。
But Breathe recognizes the safest place to go is actually towards his
敵の
teammates.
サイラスがやってくれてる HP も削った
destroyed. Big pick there for DFM. If they can get something else off the back of it and turn it into
終えるか
more.
ユーミのウルトがあと
20
20秒ぐらい Oh my god.
Yaharong has to lead. Breathes ready to turn it around now too. Gala following right behind him, ready to go. Dashes in with a Gale Force, putting damage into the health bar of the enemy AD carry. Evie has the Yumi ready to go. Breathe tries to get out. Evie popping the ulti, staying alive, but he's got to get back away now. Wei still looking for the chance to go in and finish somebody off. Charges up the Spectral Maw, but won't go any further. DFM, they got the one kill, but RNG won't give them anything else.
No, RNG kited it out beautifully, and once again, another example
鳥の目は突っ込んでも止められるね
taking the Sejuani ultimate because he has the cleanse available. Dagda was pointing out to me that Sejuani ultimate came up in the perfect time for the turn, but sadly for DFM, yeah, only one kill.
I mean, look, they get the pick onto Breathe, which is nice, right? Like, the TP comes through, they commit a lot to make sure they can get this, but this is what we're talking about, them trying to find these angles of attack to pick off low-health members of RNG. Now, it will be Xiaohu who ends up overextending at the end of it, and this is where, like, I was looking to see, hey, where is the ultimate for Steel? It's just waiting to come off cooldown, and DFM, they do overextend, but they're trying to kite back, wait for that ultimate from Steel, and maybe then with Evie's ultimate up as well, they can turn on towards Gala, but Gala face tanks the ultimate, has the cleanse available, saves Breathe in doing so, and then it's easy for RNG to turn it around.
That is 3 or 4 times now this game that Gala has been so aware of the Sejuani ultimate and aware of the fact that even though he's the role who's traditionally not supposed to get targeted, the best thing he can do is just eat that big ol' ice cube with his face, cleanse it off, and make sure everybody's out alive. I'm really liking the way they're handling these Sejuani ultis as a team.
It's just great to see, especially because Gala, back in the LPL, was having a bit of a slower season than he typically was. Not really the huge standout for RNG. It was Xiaohu primarily throughout the regular season carrying them to victory. And now, once again, kind of slowly easing into that international form that we always see him.
But that's the thing, right?
これデトネーションここでなんかしないとな
The Sivers and the Zeres and those kind of things, right? So definitely kind of going back towards comfort as
Nice.
Well, that was definitely not comfortable for the support of RNG. Finally, that is the first death of the game for this Nami. Ming has been doing a wonderful job keeping himself alive so far, but Yaharong finally gets in there. He finally finds the moment for the pop. But the unfortunate thing is, DFM doesn't have a whole lot else they're able to grab from that. They may be able to force down this tier 1 mid lane turret, but Gala and Breed still clear the wave.
I feel like we're getting to that point where the LeBlanc plus Yumi annoyance is going to be there, where again, you can just distortion over the wall, you have extra CC coming out from the Yumi, and then even if someone trades back because it's LeBlanc, you have to like commit yourself into a play, well, the Yumi's just going to heal you. So everything is just fine for Yaharong, and I love the aggressive opportunities that they're looking for.
All right, RNG, let's see how they're going to pilot this from here, because there is 50 seconds on the Drake. Baron is
どうやってデトネーション勝つんだろうなトリンデメ走ってっても今のところは何もできてねえからアイテム出るまで待たなきゃいけねえのか
RNG wasn't up to anything. Looks like we're not going to get anybody trying to sneak any Barons anytime soon. but it is 2 Drakes for RNG if they get this next one. They will be on soul point. Gala and Ming will shove up the mid lane. Gala's going to take the opportunity to reset here. It is very likely that he is able to buy himself something pretty nice. We'll keep an eye on the inventory as he gets back to the base. And yes, indeed, Infinity Edge complete for the Lucian.
And this is where it becomes incredibly difficult for DFM, right? Not only do you have Gala firing all cylinders now, but also the fact you haven't been able to push your waves already up past River because you didn't know where RNG are. We're now only getting to broach that here for DFM, which means they don't get to set up for the Dragon. They have to give it up entirely because they know, hey, we can't really poke with Yaharong and Harp and see if we can get that pick onto Gala. We have to completely back away, which means another free Dragon for RNG. And DFM need to figure out what they need to make that price be for RNG.
I feel like the good thing for DFM though, right, is that they have that scaling timer for the Sivir, for the Tryndamere. You can see Udapone super close to that Infinity Edge to come out, and the analyst test was saying, hey, like even if it is some other members being the playmakers, he is the one who has to be the big carry for the side of DFM. Yeah. So the fact that you have this 5 minutes.
Oh, Gala getting hit with the cleanse. It's always ready to go. Breathe now coming in from the side. Udapone, Evie separated from the rest of the team, but now Breathe is under fire. Evie forced to ult, stuck in CC for an incredibly long time. He's still trying to get away, but Wei is on the hunt and on a killing spree. Steel now has to try to hobble out. RNG still looking for a little bit more. Xiaohu goes in with E2, but a nice spell shield is going to stop him in his tracks. RNG have killed the enemy top laner, and they'll try to find some more.
Yeah, we can see them playing right now in Fog of War. They might be able to get on top of Steel as the wraparound comes through.
They're coming around the long, long way. Xiaohu goes in, and Steel is about to go down. Udapone will drop first, and the Yumi ulti won't save anyone. RNG get what they were looking for, and Baron will be the reward.
I love that they commit for the extra picks because one can't turn into a Baron. They go for it, and now they can start. I mean, they already have an 8K gold lead dagged up, but why not make it more?
Well, they got a TP, so they might make it less here for DFM. They want to try and get in, but Yaharong, what can you do?
Yaharong going in there. They know that Xiaohu was low. He was hoping maybe he'd jump in, pop Xiaohu, jump right back out. But Yaharong's teleport will not earn anything. It's RNG, nearly 10,000 gold ahead, wearing purple.
And this is where you kind of question how much is this Red Bull Baron power play actually going to net, because there's not a huge amount of space left for DFM. Gala tanks up this ultimate at the start once more, causes DFM to overextend, and Breathe with a decent flank here as well. Just again able to separate out the members of DFM, consistently just kind of finding the ebb and flow in this fight as DFM tried to aggress back forward. And eventually Wei finds one reset, and that's kind of where it all bursts open.
And this is where I was surprised that RNG were able to find more, because they sort of disengaged at first, but they commit to the wraparound, and DFM, knowing they need to try to play for picks, waited in the Raptor,
nothing happening,
which opened them up for the collapse from RNG to finish the kills off.
And that's what's kind of surprised the DFM trying to commit for that. They actually had a blue ward on Baron, so they knew RNG hadn't turned back towards the Baron area, but got a bit greedy.
いやー、最初の1試合目と2試合目はいい試合してたんだけど、この試合はダメだな。
Alrighty guys, it is do or die for DFM as they try to dig in their heels and hold on against this Baron push. Udapone at least having the Infinity Edge up on the Sivir. This is kind of that floor for where you say, alright, Sivir's online. But man, it is a rough time to finally get there. You don't want to be staring down 2 barrels like this, but it's RNG, locked and loaded, ready to go. They'll take down the tier 2 turret here in the top lane, and now all that's left is the DFM base.
And this is where we can see the annoyance for DFM not having that TP on Evie, because Xiaohu can be down here, match these waves, and TP up if anything happens. Evie feeling like, hey, I need to be with my team right now because they are going for this push, and can't put that split push pressure that he would so want to use.
Exactly. It's a double-sided sword, right? When you take the combat summoner spell, if you get ahead, if you're playing the game you want to play, you're a nightmare to deal with. 1v1, nobody can mess with you. 2v1, they got to think twice. But if you're behind, man, your ability to hold on and be able to get that footing on the map
勝つ方法は見当たらないんだよな。やっぱルブランを選ぶときはジャングルがリーシンとか AD チャンピオンじゃないとルブランをピックする利点があんまないように見えるな。まあ、ユーミとルブランってポークするつもりだったんだろうけど、こうなるとやることがないね。ビエゴバンでいいんじゃねえかこれ。
But the map is owned by RNG.
この試合はボコられてるわ。
Dark and full of terrors for the side of DFM.
Gala did have to use his cleanse in that last one though when
も
they're
うボコられすぎて何もやられてるだけだからもう寝かけちゃったわ。
If Yaron can get over a wall with Harp and Toe, maybe they can find that moment onto Gala, but it's slim
逆転
pickings
が
of
見え
how
ん。
difficult it is to get to the dragon.
And I think slim pickings is a good descriptor for the current state of the game in its entirety. If you are DFM, we're at the point in the game where you're having to make nothing but tough decision after tough decision. Every play is a low percentage chance. You're that far behind, but they've got to try to find the winningest move and execute on it perfectly.
And I at least like that they've been looking for opportunities, knowing how dire it looks right now. But RNG overall, I think coming in with the right plan to draft more, to get ahead in the early game. As we saw, if DFM can get the early game, be ahead or even neutral, like they know how to play out in the mid game. They are solid team fighters. So RNG indexing into getting such a good lead has done the wonders as Dragon up now. DFM is going to be your time to shine.
Alrighty, there it goes. Xiaohu getting away from the
相手みんなその
I do believe that was a
CC 向こうありすぎやろ。クレンズクレンズクレンズミカエルズ。
We're past that point in the game. Even the supports got money, and everybody on RNG.
CC がやっぱ薄すぎるね、デトネーション。セジュアニだけじゃん。まあセジュアニとユーミなんだけど。ルブランが合わねえ、構成に。
That much more dire.
It really does. In RNG now, since their comp is so low range and brawly,
やっぱ CC が薄いと戦いづらそうだな。
If you get one, then you could probably just break down either top or mid in hit, like trying to get that. If not, Udapone just going to be enough to have the wave clear. So in my mind, Baron really needs to be in the cards.
足がもっと速くなり
I
ま
mean, they're
す。
already set up, right? You get the vision, they already started away trying to play through the invisibility, but might find steal, they'll just back away. They're waiting for the waves to be in a better spot. You can see where Xiaohu is escorting top wave. Then they might be able to find a bit more with these picks, but at the moment, it's just about trying to see if you can get into having some semblance of control.
Alrighty, DFM, how are you gonna go about this? 60 seconds till the Baron, trying to sit down some vision, trying to use these sweepers and reclaim any little bit of the jungle that they can. It's 4 sweepers on both sides as the war for vision rages on. Xiaohu just keeping that spot.
キャッチしたい構成なんだけどなかなかキャッチがうまくいかねえな。
Against Evie, who's still just trying to find something there in the side lane. Gala goes in for Udapone. He will not find the kill, but he really makes him sweat. Gets both summoner spells out of the DFM AD carry as Evie versus Breathe is not going Evie's way here at the start. Breathe just gets the ulti out of the Tryndamere, goes for the flash Q, won't find it.
That is an anger.
エートロックス今回のビルドはゴアドリとランドインでトリンドミア対策してるね。
Oh boy! Oh, he sees it. He sees him in the brush with the sweeper. Evie is still able to get away thanks to the spinning slash. But the rest of RNG is ready and waiting. Sejuani is not a tank at this point of the game.
Like you said, Flowers, everything on DFM's mini-map is dark and terrifying. So thinking RNG can just outright go and serve that Baron, they have to face check, and it gives RNG the opportunity to find a pick. And look where they're going now. Exactly the tool they need to start breaking down structures with the amount of weight they're coming out for DFM.
DFM will send Yaharong with Harp attached to him
まあ
close
序
by.
盤パワーダイブも事故ったし、いろいろ連戦でミスが起きたのが良くなかったか。
From that one, but Xiaohu might make something else happen here. Nope, just scares him off, backs away. RNG, they got Baron again.
Reset's going to come through. You've already got Breathe making sure that waves are fully in their favor, pushing these in. This is where we expect to see RNG try and close this one out. And even if they don't, I mean, 3 minutes until the Outer Dragon as well. DFM haven't got to see outside of their own base in the last 5 minutes, so it still feels like RNG just get to dictate how this pace.
Again, it's just crazy to think where we went from game 1 to like DFM comfortably winning game 2, great DFM early game into a bit of a throw, and RNG finding those picks where now it's been RNG dominance. It reminds me of an interview I saw Wade did the other day where they said, hey, so how are you guys dealing with all the expectations at Worlds? Like RNG, you guys never really handle that well. Wade's like, what expectations? We're 4th seed. We're 4th seed.
We're just having a good time.
Exactly, we're just here.
We're in play-ins, man.
So you can see RNG, I guess there really is nothing to tilt from when you are coming in with that as your mindset, which is a pretty good mindset to have coming into any international. So kudos to them, because now, I mean, with a 13k gold lead, with Soul, with Baron, right, this is just about how RNG ends the game rather than when.
It's Hakuna Matata for RNG, and they are feasting on DFM here in this third game of the series. Breed is going to draw the attention of two up here on the top side. I think he may have drawn a little bit too much attention.
みんなでエートロックスを殺しに行く。ダメージがね。
Doing his job as the mid lane loses the inhibitor. Yutapon goes into the stasis trying to survive. They're still ready to kill him. It's one down, it's two down. How many more are they going to get? Heavy's in the open. He tries to spin away, but it won't happen. Yaharong, he dies too. A triple kill over to Xiaohu, and RNG will take this game.
今回はどうなんだろうな、序盤のミスか、なんか構成も勝ってたら強いんだろうけどな、ルブランとユーミでポークしてっていう。ダメだ、エートロックス相手のアンサーがこれじゃない感がある。か
DFM, their backs are now against the wall. They came out, they shocked everybody in game number one. They were able to go blow for blow with RNG. But as RNG have sped up the game, like what you were talking about, Lyric, saying, yeah, they're just picking these games, they can scrap early, get those early leads. If DFM can show you that, hey, we'll keep up with you in the late game, just don't let them get there.
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy coming out from RNG, which again is kind of funny going to this on the international stage and playing where it can work.
half of the time.
The LPL, but I like the style of champions they've adjusted to. Things like the LeBlanc, the Silas, things that they weren't playing in the LPL, but they're making work wonderfully here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting agency for Sharon, right? When he's